What's up guys, Eric Verus Engineering. We've got a BMW M2 behind us, Jackie Dings. We're gonna be installing a rear wing today. You're gonna notice that the rear wing is a swan neck UCW, and that basically improves rear end downforce. So whatever you are doing, if you need some rear end downforce, we recommend this. All right, so as far as kit components, we're gonna have the rear wing blade right here. This is assembled already with our wing mounts on it. We're gonna have uprights. We haven't decided which is gonna go to production, so I have both of them laid out, but we wanted to at least visualize both on the vehicle instead of just in CAD. And then we have our trunk mounts, so these bolt to the trunk. And then within the hardware kit, you're gonna have these standoffs. These are stainless standoffs that bolt on and basically allow us to transfer the load from the mount and thus the wing to the actual trunk hinge instead of to the trunk skin. So we're trying out a new technique here today, which will be interesting. Otherwise, the hardware kit includes like some bolts and nuts and end plate washers, and then I don't have the wing end plates laid out, but those are going to be included in the kit as well. All right, so step one is we're going to remove these 11mm bolts right there. And we're gonna get the trunk off. I guess we have to figure out what to do with this electrical connector, but otherwise, we're gonna get the trunk off and then on to the carpeting so we can drill some holes. All right, so what we did basically, we removed all these little plastic pins to get this black panel off. Flathead screwdrivers seem to do the trick the best, more than a panel popper. And then we've gotten all these wires removed. I recommend using one of these. You can do that with these three, and then we've got most of the connectors off. Besides what I believe is the rear view camera, we're gonna figure out how to actually remove that guy here shortly. Let's put him a fight. All right, so here's the connector. Whoa. You're gonna wanna push these two sides like really hard. I used needle nose pliers because there's a clip here and there's a clip here, and you pull it out. All right, so we have the trunk off the car. Ultimately, we remove those two bolts. That one you can just leave loose and then pull the trunk up. The trunk is about 30 pounds, so you'll probably want a second pair of hands. All right, so we have the trunk. We got a 1/4-inch drill bit. We're gonna basically use the threads that the, I guess it's the hinge, bolts to. And we're actually going to use that as a guide, and we're going to basically do our best to go straight through to the trunk skin, and then we're going to flip over the trunk and open up those holes for the standoffs that will go inside the trunk. So we're going to do that right now. All right, so we have the trunk flipped over. We have now grabbed our step drill bit. I think we're gonna go up to like about 5/8, 9/16, something around there. I'll let you know when I stop. So basically I opened up the hole to 5/8, and then the standoff goes nicely in there and butts up against it's basically the hinge bolt or nut, I guess, that's welded on inside the trunk. And that's basically what's gonna transfer all that load. So that's what we're looking for right there. And then on the trunk mount itself, it's basically gonna have double-sided tape to seal and make a weather-tight seal against the trunk. So we're gonna do the same thing to this one and move on. All right, so we have the holes drilled in the trunk. We're now going to install the standoffs. You're going to install the smaller one, which is P1401 in the rear, like so. And just thread those on by hand initially. And then we're going to install the longer one, which is P1400. They are part numbered, so P1400 in the front. And then we're going to use a 12mm wrench to tighten these. Nothing crazy, 6 foot-pounds. If you want to use some Loctite, by all means, use some Loctite. We're gonna throw some double-sided tape on this, and then we're going to install it on the car. All right, so at this point we have the trunk mount. You can't see, but the trunk mount's on the top of the trunk right now. We have the top bolts installed because those will just slide right onto the hinge, I guess you want to call it, hinge, and then we'll bolt on that bottom bolt right. All right, guys, so we basically installed the trunk mounts onto the trunk, tightened those to about 8 foot-pounds through the OEM nut. The trunk mounts are really tight now, and then now we've installed the uprights. All right, so I misspoke earlier. The upright to the trunk mount is actually a button head cap screw. Those are 20 millimeters long. We're gonna use a small washer there. And then the rear wing to the upright, which is wing mount to upright, is 25 millimeter long socket head cap screws with a small washer on each side and then a nylock on the inside. We recommend the bolt going on the outside, just looks better aesthetically. That's your choice though, but I would recommend that. We are gonna offer 2 different styles of end plates. We have what we call the FFV. So there you go. It'll probably be installed something like that. This is the unit that Jackie would like to run on his car initially. We also have a square end plate, a rectangular end plate, which is our standard UCW end plate, and that's what that looks like.